The original California Institution for Women would open its doors in 1932 in a small town known as Tehachapi, California, which lies 35 miles southeast of Bakersfield. In 1954, it would open its doors, but this time would be an all-men's prison housing maximum and medium security inmates. On November 22, 2023, at approximately 8:56 a.m., two incarcerated people, Carlos Cervantes and Armando Taylor, would attack David Moreno, stabbing him multiple times with 3 homemade prison weapons. Staff would respond immediately using chemical agents to stop and prevent the incident from progressing. However, David Moreno was pronounced deceased at 9:39 a.m.
I'm Allie Triolo. Today marks the start of a life behind bars for a man who's been convicted of a double murder in Delano. Well, Carlos Cervantes shot Jeffrey Villegas and Jose Ceja Pacheco back in 2016. Cervantes was sentenced today to 2 to life sentences without the possibility of parole. And another 25 years was tacked onto each sentence. At the time of the murders, police attributed the motive to jealousy. Wakansia Hall,
die like that.
Linda Walker explained that her son had cerebral palsy and that the group he was with were supposed to be his friends.
Yesterday morning I saw 3 people leave the room, and then this one guy came out, locked the door behind him, took the keys, stuck it in his pocket, and walked out and told me my son was sleeping. So I thought it was like 8:20, 8:30 in the morning, and I thought, well, why would he still be asleep? And the music was on? No. So I went in, I used my spare key, went in there, and checked him, and he had a stroke. And that's why I found him.
Border Patrol tells us multiple people have been taken into custody. The mother of the victim tells us the person that she believes did this may still be on the loose. Imperial County sheriffs issued a press release Tuesday afternoon describing the person they are looking for. His name is Armando Taylor. He's described as a male with brown eyes and a shaved head at 35 years old. John Taylor, Edgar Gerardo, and Michael Guerra were arrested and booked into Imperial County Jail.
I would have given the shirt off his back to help anybody. And I don't have money to bury him. They're going to cremate him. I don't know.
Walker described a car that the suspect at large may be driving as a blue 4-door sedan. The investigation is ongoing. If you have any information, you are asked to contact the Imperial County Sheriff's Office. Reporting in Thermal, Nico Payne, News 11.
A prison riot broke out of the California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi today. It happened just after 10:30. CCI officials say correctional officers used chemical agents and less than lethal foam rounds to bring the incident under control. They say inmate manufactured weapons were recovered following the clash, and at least 6 inmates were taken to the hospital. No one was hurt. No one else was hurt. The investigation is on.
A street vendor in Long Beach killed by stray gunfire now months after his murder. Police announcing the arrest of several people. Eyewitness News reporter Shayla Girardin has the latest on the investigation and the message the city's police chief is sending to those responsible for the killings.
The family of Yunier Ramirez finally getting news today as Long Beach police announced 3 arrests in connection to the tragic March murder.
Everyone has a right to do business and to live in our communities free of gun violence, and especially our most vulnerable businesses, our most vulnerable residents, including our street vendors.
Long Beach police announcing the arrests of Raylon Akers, Rahman Abdullah, and James Havlicek, all documented gang members with prior convictions.
These convictions range from auto theft and carrying concealed weapons to shooting at inhabited dwellings and evading police.
Police tell us on March 20th, Ramirez was working as a street vendor near Eagle Street and Locust Avenue when he was shot.
It became clear that Yunier Ramirez was the victim of an unacceptable, gang-related act of gun violence, and that the suspects involved were believed to be targeting rival gang members.
On July 18th, police served 6 search warrants across Southern California, recovering multiple firearms and eventually leading to the arrests of the 3 suspects.
To those willing to commit acts of gun violence, whether as an isolated incident or in the furtherance of gang activity, I can assure you, we have some of the brightest crime analysts, hardworking police officers, and most skilled detectives in the country. And the Long Beach Police Department is determined and focused on holding individuals accountable for their crimes.
2 of those suspects were booked for murder. The 3rd was booked for accessory to murder. Police say there could be more suspects involved, so anyone with information is asked to reach out to the Long Beach Police Department or LA Crime Stoppers. In Long Beach, Shayla Gerard and ABC7.
Now to Long Beach, where a triple shooting broke out at a park, sending a teenager to the hospital in critical condition. It happened just before 2 o'clock at Silverado Park. Police say the 3 victims were at a basketball court when a car drove past them and someone opened fire. There was an exchange of gunshots with an unidentified person in the park. When officers arrived at the scene, they found 2 men with non-life-threatening injuries and a 17-year-old boy in critical condition.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Green Lit Gang TV. Much love, much appreciation. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel today. Really quick, guys, I just wanted to give a big thank you. All the support, all the love. It means everything. We're closing in on 16,000 subscribers. Should be there, I'd say, with about a week to 10 days, give or take. Could not do it without you guys. You guys seem to really be liking the new way I've been doing the videos, giving a lot of background information on the individuals that we are covering as part of the main subject of the video. I will continue to do that. We are continuing to do that in the video today. We're going to Tehachapi, California. It's in very most southern area of California. Like we said in the intro, it's about 35 miles southeast of Bakersfield, 20 miles west of Mojave. And according to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total of about 10 square miles and a population of a little over 14,400. Now, like we said in the intro, it was the original California institution for women. I put some really cool pictures up of that. I love seeing the blast from the past, the stuff from history. I don't know about you guys, but that stuff really, really is fascinating to me. And then, like I said in the intro as well, it opened its doors in 1954 as a full-time men's facility. And in the 80s, it added on the maximum and medium security facilities, and kind of what it's known for today. So this takes us to Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023. We're going to be reading from an article from the California Department of Corrections Rehabilitation's website. Tehachapi, California. Correctional institution officials are investigating the death of an incarcerated person as a homicide. At approximately 8:56 a.m. on Wednesday, November 22nd, 2 incarcerated people, Carlos Cervantes and Armando Taylor, allegedly attacked David Moreno during an altercation. Staff would immediately respond, utilizing chemical agents to quickly quell the incident. Moreno had been stabbed multiple times and life-saving measures were performed. While en route to an outside medical facility, Moreno was pronounced deceased at 9:39 a.m. No staff or additional incarcerated people were injured. Really quick, what have we talked about in the last couple of videos? They seem to get them in the morning. There are some nighttime attacks, don't get me wrong, not all of them, but a lot of them that I see here, they get them in the morning, whether it's during chow, the doors just pop, they're starting to kind of mingle around, and it's like you want to catch them when they're maybe still rubbing their eyes, maybe still waking up, maybe having that first cup of coffee, and boom, they're kind of blitz attacked there, and that seems to be what I read a lot with these stories, are people getting attacked somewhat early in the morning. Now, 3 inmate manufactured weapons were recovered at the scene. Cervantes and Taylor have been moved to restricted housing and population movement had been limited. An investigation continued by CCI's Investigative Services Unit and the Kern County District Attorney's Office. The Office of the Inspector General was notified, and the Kern County Coroner will determine Moreno's official cause of death. And this is just a regular MO. Every single story I've done, that paragraph is copy and pasted into the next one. Excuse me. That just seems to be how they follow protocol. Moreno, 38, was received from Los Angeles County on April 21st, 2004. He'd been down for a long time. He was sentenced on March 18th, 2004 to life with the possibility of parole for 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder with the enhancement of intentional discharge of a firearm causing great bodily injury or death. On July 23rd, 2015, Moreno was sentenced an additional 3 years for battery on a non-prisoner, an in-prison offense. So staff member, an administration member, something like that. Seems like all of these guys continue to pick up charges. And not even so much, even if these guys are doing like 3 to 5 years, they're picking up time, even on shorter bids. Moreno, he'd been down, at the time of his death, he'd been down almost 20 years. Cervantes was received from Kern County on August 23rd, 2018. This is Carlos Cervantes. All right, he's 39 years old, comes from Kern County on August 23rd, 2018. He was sentenced on August 9th, 2018 to life without the possibility of parole for 2 counts of first-degree murder with the enhancements of discharging a firearm and intentional discharge of a firearm causing great bodily injury or death. On February 14th, 2020, he was sentenced for additional time for the following in-prison offenses. And check this out. 4 years for assault by an incarcerated person with means of force likely to result in great bodily injury as a second striker, and 2 years for possessing or manufacturing a deadly weapon as an incarcerated person and second striker. Taylor, this is Armando Taylor, 41, was received by Imperial County on December 22nd, 2017. He was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole for first-degree murder with the personal use of a dangerous or deadly weapon and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. On November 3rd, 2020, he received 1 year for the in-prison offense of committing battery on a non-prisoner, and then on July 30th, 2022, he received 4 more years for the in-prison offense of committing assault with a deadly weapon using force likely to result in great bodily injury or death as a second striker. Now, those are the enhancements that we seem to have been talking about for the last almost year. We've talked about these enhancements. If you're on your second strike, if it's for a gang enhancement, if it's for a firearm enhancement, if it's for force likely to cause, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, they're going to get you. You're going to get more time. It never, ever fails. And this is how these guys literally bury themselves alive within what we've been talking about, the California prison system, but for prison systems across the state, if it's a cycle, and they never, ever, ever are able to get out of it. Now, I was able to dig. You guys seem to really like when I get the background on these guys. I was able to really dig, get some good background information. We're going to be starting with Armando Taylor. All right, now this is an article from July 5th, 2017, out of Salton Sea, California. An alleged murderer is on the loose, and deputies need your help locating him. Investigators are looking for 35-year-old Armando Taylor for his part in the murder of a 38-year-old man. On Monday, July 3rd, 2017, the Imperial County Sheriff's Office was called to the 200 block of El Centro Avenue in Salton Sea Beach in reference to a dead person. Medical crews pronounced the man dead at the scene and found numerous injuries to the upper torso. Sheriff's deputies, with the assistance of United States Border Patrol agents, searched the Salton Sea Beach and located 3 of 4 suspects. John Taylor, Edgar Gerardo, and Michael Guerra were arrested and booked into Imperial County Jail for homicide and conspiracy with a bond set at $1 million each. The 4th suspect, our guy, Armando Taylor, is still at large. The victim has been identified by families, Adam Walker. Now, his mom is the first video you guys watch where she's talking to the press about her son was a good kid. She came to check on him, and unfortunately, she was the one that found him dead. Now, here we are 10 days later on July 15th, 2017. All right, they're interviewing the mom. I don't know why they did this to him, but that's what I would ask him. Plain out. Why did you kill him? And the way you killed him. I mean, apparently they hit him, they beat him first, and then stabbed him, and then used the extension cord to cut his throat, explained Walker's mom. Armando Taylor was caught on Saturday, July 15th, 2017 in Indio, California. These guys are active, man. These guys are down. These guys are very, very violent individuals. Carlos Cervantes, remember, he's the one that he racked up. These guys all racked up in-prison offenses, but Carlos Cervantes is the one that racked up like multiple ones, likely to cause great bodily injury. His case is a little interesting. Here we go. Carlos Cervantes shot Jeffrey Villegas and Jose Ceja Pacheco in 2016. The murders occurred September 4th, 2016. So on September 4th, 2016, at about 8:40 p.m., Delano, California Police Department patrol officers were dispatched to West 15th Place regarding a citizen who found 2 unresponsive males at a home. Now, dug into it some more. This is from his appeal that he had filed, okay, about, wrongful prosecution, things that weren't taken into consideration. And I always go right to the factual background of the case. It gives you really, really good details. In the evening hours of September 4th, 2016, Villegas and Ceja were fatally shot in the front yard of Villegas' home in Delano. Villegas' body was found near the front door, and Ceja's body was found in the yard next to a tractor trailer. Both men died of multiple gunshot wounds and were pronounced dead at the scene. Villegas was shot twice in the chest, resulting in massive hemorrhaging from his heart, aorta, and other organs. He also was shot through his right forearm. Ceja was shot once in the arm and once in the back. Both projectiles entered his chest and caused massive damage to multiple vital organs. One projectile was recovered from each of the man's bodies. Law enforcement determined the men were shot with a Glock firearm. Defendant, and this is our guy Cervantes, lived in the house immediately to the west of Villegas. And this is an update on September 7th, 2016. This is 3 days after the bodies were discovered. Delano police have arrested a suspect, Carlos Cervantes, 32, in relation to the case. It is being treated as a homicide. Update, September 22nd, 2016. A search warrant filed with the Kern County Court claims surveillance video showed Cervantes in the area of the homicide at the time of the homicide. After multiple interviews with witnesses and people close to the victims, the warrant claims Cervantes owed one of the victims, Jeffrey Villegas, money for work he performed on the Villegas home. Cervantes allegedly pulled a gun on Villegas 2 days before he actually shot and killed him and Ceja. So Yeah, and then fast forward, there was a guilty verdict on July 10th, 2018, and there's a little bit more to it. Check this out. A man this is July 10th, 2018, Carlos Cervantes' verdict, his hearing. A man who had just heard his guilty verdict being read tried to leave the courtroom Tuesday. Carlos Cervantes, 32, was found guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors said Cervantes shot his neighbor, 51-year-old Jeffrey Villegas, and 30-year-old Jose Ceja back in September 16. According to documents, friends and family told Delano police detectives Villegas owed Cervantes money for work performed on the home. And it talks about how Cervantes had previously threatened Villegas 2 days before with a gun. As Cervantes heard the verdict in court, he tried to leave the courtroom, ignoring the commands given by deputies, and had to be subdued. Fast forward again to August 9th, 2018. That's when he got the sentence. A man will spend the rest of his life in prison for a double murder in Delano. Carlos Cervantes shot Jeffrey Villegas and Jose Ceja back in 2016. He was sentenced Thursday, August 9th, 2018, to 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole, and another 25 years was also tacked on to each sentence. Basically, police said the motive was jealousy. Now, our victim in this case, David Moreno. I found a lot of good information on him. He was from Long Beach. He was the Sureno gang member. He's a West Side Longos Sureno gang member. So these guys all had gang ties one way or the other. The most information I was able to find was on David Moreno and his gang ties. David Moreno was convicted of attempted murder using a firearm in furtherance and the purpose of a street gang. On appeal, he claims the evidence was insufficient to support the conviction. He received ineffective assistance of counsel, and his sentence constituted cruel and unusual punishment. All right? Now, going to the facts of the case. In January 2003, Long Beach gang member Octavio Hinojos ordered fellow gang member David Moreno to murder Reina Fuentes. Their gang believed Fuentes had set up one of their, quote, homies, and killing Fuentes would avenge his death. Sitting in a car parked outside Fuentes' apartment building, Hinojos pointed her out to Moreno, who saw that Fuentes had her 4-year-old son, Jesus R., with her. So yeah, if you didn't hear me quite right, they're trying to kill a woman who was there with her 4-year-old son for setting up one of their homies who they believe was killed because of whatever she said or whatever she did. Seeing the child, David Moreno objected to the shooting, telling Hinojos he could not carry it out. Snapping his fingers, Hinojos said if Moreno did not kill Fuentes, he could be gone, quote, just like that. That sums up gang life right there. We're just going to take a quick pause. That is what they do not talk about when they glorify gang violence and all that stuff right there. You got a guy with a conscience and David Moreno who says, hey, man, no, we don't do this. Not right now. She's with her 4-year-old son. And Hinojos doesn't even hesitate. This is supposed to be your homie, your brother, your friend. And he doesn't hesitate and says, if you want to die, go ahead and don't do this. Go ahead and leave. But this could be you tomorrow or the next day or whenever. And that's what causes these crimes and these motives and this vicious cycle of violence. So Moreno takes a deep breath, gets out of the car with a .22 caliber rifle with a scope and walked towards Fuentes and her son. When Fuentes saw Moreno approach, she and her son moved quickly toward their apartment complex and entered a fenced area surrounding the building. You can imagine the fear that she was going through. Moreno ran up to the fence, placed the rifle over the fence, pointed the rifle at the mother and son standing 20 to 25 feet away, and fired without hesitation. He shot 4 times, striking Fuentes twice and Jesus R. once. A bystander ran towards Moreno to stop him. Moreno turned around and tried to fire, but the rifle jammed Moreno, then fled. Big shout out to whoever tried to stop him. That takes a set of balls on you, that's for sure. A jury would convict Moreno of willful, deliberate, and premeditated attempted murder of Jesus R. and Fuentes. The jury found true that he discharged a firearm during the crimes, resulting in great bodily injury. It also found true that he committed the offenses in association with a criminal street gang. He tried appealing the fact that he didn't fire enough to actually want to kill them. I don't know how that makes sense. He fired 4 times, argued that had he wanted to, he could have. Which, I mean, if you believe the part of, hey, man, I told this guy, Hinojos, that I don't want to do it, maybe, but it's still like you fire 4 times, you hit her twice, you hit her 4-year-old son once. It just, maybe had you fired once or said the gun jammed or something, but you managed to get 4 shots off. Now, really quick, West Side Longo refers to West Side Long Beach, a working-class neighborhood in Long Beach, California, separated from the rest of the city by the Long Beach Freeway on I-710 and the Los Angeles River. And basically, location West Long Beach is the westernmost part of Long Beach, California. It's distinct from the rest of the city due to the Long Beach Freeway and the Los Angeles River. And there is a small rivalry. The Mexican Mafia ordered the West Side Longo gang to put aside its rivalry with the East Side Longo and support their former rivals against the TRG, the Tiny Rascal gang, which we have done a video on. But that was what David Moreno was repping. He's a Sureno gang member, and unfortunately he had his life taken November 22nd, 2023. 3 violent individuals, 3 guys that once they got locked up did not seem to stop their gang activity or their violent tendencies. It's just kind of a sad story all the way around. But hope you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, you already know what it is. Peace.